Did you know 1 in every 10 Kenyan is living with a mental health disorder? And closer home, 1 in every 4 is living with a form of mental health condition. I would like to introduce to you one of my friends, David Wamiti, who would like to share with us the journey of living with bipolar disorder, which is just one of the disorders that many people are living with. Other than bipolar, we have conditions like autism, we have those people who are living with clinical depression, anxiety disorders. And until we fully understand these disorders, we will continue to stigmatize and stereotype people who are living with disorders. Welcome to Clean Money Insight. I'm Coach Tabitha Mwai. David, thank you for coming.
Yes,
I would like for you to share with us, how did you come to learn that you have bipolar?
I was from night shift, going to home to sleep, and then I came to realize myself 12 hours later, being in a hospital bed. How it happened, I may not know, but I was later told what. Actually, it was a journey that my colleagues at work had noted. The shift of my interactions with them have changed, and then at home, that is what promoted. And I'm able to also to appreciate my employer EABL because of the medical facility, because they're actually taken to hospital, taken care of. The bills are met. It is not just something that is just goes down without a mention. And now coming to hospital, when I came to realize where I am, first the thing came is denial. I mean, I'm not sick. And one of these now giving the responses, I was violent. I refused to take medication. I would be held by five people to be given an injection. And then the journey now with the technology, searching what is bipolar, researching after I was given the phone. Actually, I stayed for around 2 weeks without a phone, but I was being given in tidbits.
Did they first tell you, like, when you woke up and found yourself in the hospital, did they tell you why you were there? How was the diagnosis done? Did they prepare you psychologically for the medication?
The first thing that was so bad was denial. Me, I'm not sick. So this is not where I belong. I could not even listen.
Oh, so you couldn't even listen to the doctors?
Is coming to talk to me, telling me what. Then, do you want us to talk? Where's my phone? That is a condition. Can I get my phone so that then you can talk on what you want to talk? But I remember Dr. Frank Jega coming to me, talking. We would talk with him. And he has been a very great friend in this journey. And then that now, there's now what usually, even if you may deny, there's now the reality time is moving. 2 weeks are gone. I remember I was there for 4 weeks. Then is now coming to realize it is me. Now there are things which I'm not able to do. And actually it then happened at a time I was in my final semester at KCA doing BCom. And then that is the time I was only having one unit, a project. If I don't behave, I will not be able to graduate in that November. It's to wait the other November. That is the other thing that hit me. And then now the pressure is now in form. I'm getting to see the other people who are there at the medical facility. And hey, even me, I'm better than them. Our person is maybe his third or fourth laps is in the medical facility. Then there's those telling the journeys. We could meet, tell our journeys how it has been. Me, it is my first. I even don't know what to be able to talk. And there's something. I remember Aridel telling her story, and it hit me hard. If I don't self-accept myself, on the condition that I'm in, I'll be in a deep shit.
So it gets worse.
It gets worse and worse. And then this is the journey that walked for 2 years. It happened that it reached a point, I'm not now sick. The medication, I not take it. 1 month and a half down the line, I had a lapse. Actually, the lapse, some things usually happen for you to look back and see the future in a more good and simpler view, that you'll be able to make a change for life, or you go back to the drain.
Or maybe before you tell us about the lapse, maybe you can just shed more light on what exactly is bipolar.
Okay, first, bipolar disorder, there are two. There is bipolar 1 and there is bipolar 2. Bipolar 1 is more severe, and bipolar 2 is simpler. And maybe bipolar disorder is a mental health condition that causes extreme mood swings that include the emotional highs, that is the mania, and the hypomania, and the lows. Now that is the depression. When you become depressed, you may feel sad or hopeless and lose interest or pressure in most of the activities that you are doing. I may be able to say bipolar, there are the triggers. Triggers are on what one is doing normal on any day.
So on your daily routine?
On your daily routine, you'll be able to get these triggers. And the most common is stress. Once stress comes in bits, and then they accumulate, and you are unable to handle. How do you react? So you will be able to put more pressure in your mind. And then the mind will be able to be disoriented. Like you may be in a conversation, all of a sudden, you have breaked out your speech. It is coming from the mind. And then too, it is on how you handle anger. Maybe I say something bad, you feel you are so much, it is too much for you, you react back. Remember, you are reacting back to the other person, and then still that person will be able to react. So what will happen?
It's a chemical reaction.
So for me, one of the things that I've been, you never find me angry. Talk of anything, I will not get angry. So for me, is to withdraw. To avoid those are other steps, is to withdraw. I take a back. You say what you want, you think you are making me to be angry, but I'm avoiding something that will be able to hold on my mind, to maybe make me fight back, or maybe reply back, and then other conversation will there. The other is fatigue. When you are tired, what do?
You rest.
What then if you rest and you still have the fatigue?
Frustration.
Now that is the frustration. So how do you avoid fatigue? It's prioritization. Like myself, maybe in this journey, what I've been able to identify is in stress is to list down on the things which are making me to feel stressful, and then on prioritization, I drop some things, I then do some things first. So on the road. Then fatigue is working out. There is a time I may be able to sleep for 4 hours, and my sleep is all out. But there is a time I can be able also to sleep for 10 hours. For me, I like traveling, and traveling is not seated, it's driving. That is what I enjoy most. And there is what we call the breakout. I drive for 1 hour and a half, I have a stop, and then I break out. I have found myself sometimes, because of time, I'm driving and then I feel there's now the fatigue. But there's a destination I have to go. I'm even less than 50 kilometers to where I want to go, but the body can't.
Completely.
And then you find yourself in the vehicle, nobody is a driver. What do? I remember I've stopped thrice to have a 30-minute nap. Yeah? So that the body re-energizes and you're able to reach your destiny. It's just prioritizing and knowing your body, actually knowing yourself is very critical. The other thing is, and this is the biggest, is the ones that are, if you're in a conversation, then a person out of nowhere throws a words to you. How do you react? Yeah, this because
it affects your emotions.
It will be able to affect your emotion.
Yeah.
Because, like in this journey of bipolar, one of the things that I found so bad is the negative ones thrown towards me. But for me, for inward, am I in a negative thing? For me, it has been a building stone to a new level, to understand myself, also to be able to understand other people, and also to help others. The other thing is in bipolarism, the anxiety. How are you able to handle anxiety? Yeah? Maybe something happens, you find this is too much for you, yeah? But how will you be able to handle it? That is another thing that is have been a great area for me. The other one is fear. You're doing something and out of nowhere, you have so many fears that you feel even you don't want to do it. Yeah? Fears are holding you back to be able to achieve what you want. And then once it now settles in your mind, yeah? Remember you have now some deadlines. You will not push the deadline maybe of that 1st of October. Yeah? Ikifika that year, that first automatically have to. And you know, like what most of Kenyans we are known for is rushing the last minute. Yeah? But do you know, you will not be able to do a good job. So for me, it's prioritizing, doing it in time, so that you'll be able to have also time to reflect, relook, and also if there is anywhere there is any mistake, be able to have ample time. And then, whom are you telling your story?
Because of the stigma?
The stigma. One of the deep thoughts that I usually, even today, face. Yeah? If you tell a person you have a mental ailment, have you ever been admitted in a mental hospital? I've never been to one. Yeah? And if you are waiting, they may not. Actually, we all have mental ailments, some percentage, each and every one person amongst us.
Yeah.
Nobody is it's very special. And if you have ever found yourself with what I've been able to say as the triggers, those are now form of. The thing is, it is only that it has never been diagnosed with you.
Yeah, because many people fear the diagnosis.
Actually, that is the biggest fear in everyone. And for me, in this journey, that diagnosis and knowing, is the simplest way of healing yourself, of your healing journey for yourself and self-acceptance. Because one of the things that have made me strong, and actually after the lapse, is it is me, it is with me, and I have to live with it. Yeah? So the third person is not coming anywhere. So even if we interact, it's to be able to be the same person.
So it's about accepting yourself as you are and living with the condition.
Positively. It has helped me a lot. And actually, I've even never exceeded on what I aim to achieve. Yeah?
Because of acceptance.
Like I aimed in 2020 to be able to climb Mount Kenya. Yeah. A journey in 20 after the lapse. Yeah? I was able to achieve it in February on 5th. Yeah? Yeah? I'm in volunteer work. Yeah. I've been a president of a Rotary Club, in Rotary Club of Ruiru. There's a lot I've done in Rotary. Yeah? And for me, the biggest stumbling block in anything that a person may wish to achieve is not actually the other persons, it's the person, it's the individual person. Because you first need to understand yourself, then aim on what you want to do, and then what are the limitations, and if you're able to handle your limitations, I think success will be on your way. And for me, that has been this is a journey that I'm walking with others. I'm currently also talking to people with the same ailment. And for me, my slogan this year going forward is sharing is caring. Yeah. And then if it is the two way, I think it is even easier. But the bad thing that happens, and I don't know what is wrong with us, is when you have shared your story, and then out of nowhere, you'll be able to meet good people. Yeah, you will positively, like committee, you are strong.
They encourage
yes,
you.
They will be able to encourage you. Yeah. But the naysayers, there are so many.
Kamati.
And actually, they are kamati ya roho chafu. There are so many. And they are even in your inner circles of people you call your friends.
Yeah, it's unfortunate.
Yeah. And so, me were just one slogan. Tenda wema nenda za. Baraka ya Mungu itakufuata. You say bad about me, I don't care. It is me. Yeah?
Maybe on that point, because you're saying most of the time, you find the people who stigmatize us are people close to us. Because you see, like, even in some severe mental conditions, you find that even people wanafungiwa kwa nyumba, like you're restricted, they don't want you to interact with other people. So how would you advise the public? Would you tell us how best can I support somebody who is living with a mental health disorder?
First thing, nobody is special. Yeah. And the best thing is be aware of the shoe of your friend. Yeah. Research about the ailment. How can we be able to be of help to him or her? Yeah. And the greatest thing is that moral and social support. Can that person have a shoulder to lean on in you? Ama, I'm leaning on you, and even you are stabbing me more. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah. And then, knowing that nobody is special, and we have that mental condition.
We are all casualties.
We are all casualties. You are either infected or affected. And
you can be diagnosed anytime.
Anytime. Mimi, I was diagnosed in 2016. I was born in 1978. Why didn't it happen there before? All those years. I am not special. So for me, the great thing is sharing. You find a person even knows, but you can't share. Yeah. Irrespective of the negativity of the people around you, share. And I think the information shared is better. Is because it's coming from like myself when I'm sharing. I maybe for the over 1 week I shared my video of the interview about bipolar, and the positive sentiments I've gotten and the message. Even some people up to now they can't believe that I have bipolar. How? Amity, you are a super achiever. You have done so much in the community. How have you been doing all this? And you have an ailment that need to be holding you back. But and I to tell them the ailment is not a stumbling block for me to achieve more. I saw it as a bridge for me to be able to achieve more by sharing the information. And I know now, like now during COVID, there are so many people actually on what has happened financially wise that has affected our mental thinking, our mental stability. Yeah. And it is the highest time that even our government can be able to think outside the box to be able to support people. Because there is no bigger frustration whereby you're in a situation you cannot be able to move out of by yourself.
Yeah,
and you're helpless. And you have nothing to do. What will happen? Once depression sets in, it will be too bad.
It's the trigger of most mental health conditions.
Yeah. And then the biggest part is we are said we are not what we call learners. I'm not in school, so why maybe research? you research to be able to help yourself and also help others whom you'll be able to meet along in your way. And for me, I'm a social media fanatic. Because for me, if you ask me what you do in my idle time, I have never had any idle time. For me,
you don't know how to be idle.
No. Being idle, I don't know, because I usually find myself. There's maybe a list. I usually work with a notebook. That is one of the key things that in my journey with bipolar is also to hold the road you are carrying with your mind. There's a person you'll be able to tell an appointment maybe in January, and I can the date, even the time, in the mind, be able to write it down. I also don't like usually using the phone notebook, because if it's a time of no phone, it's a no phone. It's lighting, and maybe you also on concentration. And then it is also said, maybe if you're able to pass an information to a group of 10 people, and then you are telling them to go and share with others, before it is getting to the 10th person, it is opposite of what you said. Yeah. But if you had written and shared with them, it is the same information that only questions will be coming in. And that is why I've been able to lighten it down, so that I'll be able to have somewhere to reflect and also like I may be able to be in long conversations on the phone, but if it's something that will be serious, we'll still be able to go maybe on WhatsApp, light it down, so that I'll be able also to reflect. Okay. Yeah, so mentors will reduce the road that you are carrying in the mind. Have worked for me big time.
Oh, that's interesting. I would say you're a champion. Because in most instances, when people are diagnosed with any mental health condition, you find that they are unable to continue with their lives. Or they have to really struggle before finding their footing back into normal life, so to speak. But you've been able to carry on the journey, because it's a journey. It doesn't have an end date. And it's a journey that is empowering other people. Maybe one thing I would ask, when you found out, because you see, this is not something you had planned on. It came to you suddenly, and maybe they had been signs prior, but even with the signs, it was not a diagnosis. So when you got the diagnosis, how did it first affect your life before you were able to accept, this is what I am going through, this is how I'm going to cope? Like, you've really given us good pointers of how to cope, to deal with the stress, to manage your time, to prioritize. But immediately before you were able to get to that point of coping, how did it affect your life at work, at home?
First thing is denial.
And also in school.
Denial. It is not me. It is not with me. Was the first stumbling block. And actually it took me 2 years to be out of it. And this happened after the lapse. My actions is what now I've made this to be able to happen. It is not that it is me who made it others to be able to happen. Then the negative comments from others, that has not been able to hinder me to be able to progress forward. And then it opened an opportunity for me to see the other person in me outside, outside the cocoon. The biggest stubborn block within element is being in the comfort zone. I don't know when it will end. But it is not with me. I have to accept it is with me. I will live with it. I will stretch myself to be able to achieve even more, of which I have been able to do it. And then the good people outside there, because you see 1 out of 10. So if where you are, you find yourself, you are 10, one amongst you. Have a mental disorder, and then you're moving out from the 10, you're going to another group of 10. You may never know whether you're the next culprit. So sharing, it is something that due to the negative sentiment, for me it was able to build me. It was able to build me that It is me. I've shared what I am, what I'm experiencing. Whether you say it negatively, you'll be able to give me a building block to where I want to go next. You say it positively, it will be able to uplift my spirit and to say, I'm not alone. And at the workplace, the thing, because I work on shift, is managing my sleep times. Then I have to take a medication. There's a medication I have to take, one tablet in the morning, the same tablet in the evening, and I have a tablet for evening. And then taking that medication, and then maybe there's something that I have not been able to complete. Then it is now coming to because of sleep. I have been able to manage that positively. And for me, the journey so far is only now going forward. I'm public about it, and I'm starting a campaign about mental health because there is a lot. There are so many people, even they don't know. Yeah. Because I said it is either you're infected or you're affected. And then I kindly may be able to say, let's start, let's take you. Yeah. If maybe you're looking to see me in a mental hospital, you may end up there before me.
I'm really encouraged by your story because as you've said, sharing is caring, and also sharing is a form of therapy. Let's not stigmatize people who are dealing with mental health disorders, because you never know. Tomorrow it could be you, it could be a friend, it could be a relative, it could be someone close to you who is struggling. So the more we appreciate and embrace those who are struggling and help them in their journey, the more we are able to make their condition or make their life easier, and even make them function properly in society, because it's not a sentence. It's just a condition that they can live with and be excellent in life. So it doesn't stop them from living. So that has been our conversation today on living with bipolar. Thank you so much, David Wamiti, for being here and for being courageous enough to share your story.
Thank you.
This has been Clean Money Insight. I've been Coach Tabitha.